The vision is that we want to use agriculture to build the economy of the state, not just to days when we have exemplified agriculture, in this part of the world. And we are one of the people that have done that with our forefathers, especially in the area of the tree crops like cocoa and what have you. Mainly what you have there are more plantations, that are complementing smallholding. Where are the plantations now? So we don't even have plantations for tree crops anymore, talk less of saying that are for our food crops. So we also extract that, we realized that. And we now said, for us to do all these things, we need to ensure that we bring in new actors. The last thing that we also saw was that most of the materials that we are growing, as a scientist, that I know very well, that when you get your planting materials wrong, when the agronomical practices is deficit, when climate change problem is there, and your inputs are not well harnessed, it's garbage in, garbage out. So we know that, and we decided to say that we'll grow our seed systems. We'll put in a measure in place to ensure that input systems supplied to the state are controlled, and we will ensure that support that are needed for smallholder farmers and other kind of farmers are in place. So those are the things that informed our decisions, as to the direction that we are going now.
The new thinking will not only open up the state for easy evacuation of the farm produce at the subsistence level, but will equally enable big players in the agribusiness to invest heavily in the states. Prior to the advent of the current government, less than 7% of the state's arable land was being cultivated by smallholder farmers, with more than half of their farm produce being wasted due to post-harvest loss because of poor road infrastructure. Thus, the various interventions being witnessed across the state is to create the enabling environment for would-be investors in agriculture and agro-processing within the states.
We signed a joint venture agreement, a shared agreement with an investor to develop that free trade zone on 500 hectares of land. We're a major agricultural state. In the agri sector, we've developed, we piloted the Fashola hub in Fashola in Oyo over there, which is about over 1,100 hectares in agri space. We piloted the Fashola hub, which is about 1,100 hectares, which as of now is fully subscribed with investors doing business, converting raw materials into finished products, value chain addition, which creates employment for our citizens.
The state has since commenced the repositioned Agric Hub, which is already delivered. The Ijaye Agric Hub, as well as the Erua Agric Hub, both of which are being developed.
Our plan is to have hubs in all our geopolitical zones, so that all our farmers have to do is just focus on doing their own thing. And by the time they bring the raw materials out, they're already processing centers. So we're going to reduce wastage, and we're going to increase our productivity in terms of the outputs we're putting out as a state. This, connecting all our roads with world-class infrastructure, agri hubs, of course, human, people-oriented policies that have elevated the standard of living of our citizens in Oyo State.
The Oyo State Agribusiness Development Center, Fashola, which is 1,200 hectares self-serving facility targeting private investors, is working with full complement of residential and industrial portions fully subscribed. The model boasts of good road network, electricity, clinic, and a golf course. It has 10 factories ranging from dairy to agro-processing, as well as agri-input and mechanization.
For me, it's still an icing on the cake. Where we are going is bigger than that. As far as I'm concerned, it's an experiment that works, but our vision is bigger, far, far bigger than that. Ijaye is going to be almost like it's going to be a transformation completely for the history of agribusiness in this country. Because right there and then we're going to be having what we call the wholesale market as well. The first of its kind in Nigeria, built after the Rungis Semaris market in France. We already signed an agreement for Rungis in France to backstop us technically. And you can imagine Rungis Emaris market in France is the second or probably the largest wholesale market in the world. And if you see the volume of what they are contributing into the to the French economy, you will be shocked. I think the value is around 15 billion euros, and we have been doing something similar, contextualizing in our state here in Oyo State at Akinyele. But it's not just about that as well. It's also for people to understand the interconnectedness of all what we are doing. If you're hearing about Circular Road is not in isolation. It's being built to strengthen the economic development of this state as far as and
recreation center. If you look at my left, we have what we call luxury building. So we have 5 for them already occupied. We have the owners are available already. And if you look at my right-hand side, that is our 9-hole golf course. So if you look at it now, we have 9 holes, and the building opposite is what we call the golf house. That is relaxation of our people, the golfers. After playing golf, they enter the place, they relax themselves, they take their drinks, they can even take their dinner, and they move.
This agricultural hub in Fashola has been designated African Development Bank Agricultural Transformation Center in Nigeria and has become a model of agribusiness in Africa.
The objective that was shadowed and the responsibility for OISADA is to turn Oyo State into modern agribusiness hub. That is by inviting investors, giving them opportunity to develop this place for us. So that is why this place, government started building this place. It's built on 1,200 hectares of land. And if you have seen it, is divided into 3 portions. We call it the first gate, the second gate, and then the third gate. So the first gate comprises of investors, because here it is investors driven. It's investors that will be doing every activity. Remember the first one, it was government driven, but this one is investors driven, government support. So, and then government built 10 factories in gate 3, that's the factory section. But beyond the 10 factory government built, we will also build a clinic, we will have a fire station, we will have a crèche, we will have a proposed police station. Because it's an encompassing, it's a home away from home. All what we want is to make our investors comfortable. That's why we give them enabling environments to drive whatever they are driving, And then we will also encourage the total value chain. That is, whatever they are doing, they must, process it, package it, and sell it out.
Visitors from 4 African countries and 15 states of the Federation have since visited Fashola to see its model in places across Nigeria and across the world. This transformational approach to agriculture, which is being used to lay a solid foundation for the economic future of Oyo State, is at the heart of all the infrastructure intervention going on in the entire state.
If you place your camera on Iseyin, Fashola, or your road, you place your camera on Iseyin, Ijayi, Moniya road, and you place your camera on Ido to Ibarapa road, within 4 to 5 hours, you will track nothing less than around 100 vehicles that is carrying foodstuff from farm to a processing area. This wasn't the case in the past. I'm telling that within 5 hours, every day. Bahemud, and you know what that means? Is that even Bahemud? And you know what that means? Is that even just a memorandum of understanding? And that MOU has been guided, the technical support that IIT has been provided for your state government across board, or the cross of their corporate mandates. And so now, in Oyo State now, I dare say boldly that most of the materials that we are planting as materials on farm now are materials that can give us 5, 6, 7 times yield of what we are having before this government advent. Within Fashola, we have a farm that is for new generation materials on cassava that we are using for our farmers across the whole of the state. Some of our projects on NKS where we are distributing planting materials to the state, we are getting those materials from those particular farms. That wasn't the case before. So there's a traceability for us to know the kind of material that is being planted. The second thing is that There's a system called the semi-autotrophic hydroponic system, which you will see here in IIT. It's now in Fashola, being built there. It means that farmers don't need to come into IIT any longer, but they will go into that agricultural transformation center to get those materials and multiply, and then they can spread across, as for our outgrower system. That is just one example of a crop. Similar thing applies on maize, soya beans, and all what have you. Yam as well. That now we are using science to produce the materials that are being planted, meaning that farmers will have more on the same land that they are planting, compared to what they used to do in the past, and the same cost, as it were. That is science backing us. That is already happening in Oyo State. Going further with that, and I believe that that's one of the hallmark of what we have done, is to build what we can refer to as a one-stop shop.
Public-private partnership development initiative. Aside the aggressive push in creating all necessary infrastructures for business to thrive, there is remarkable improvement in the ease of doing business in the state.
Let business people do business, and let women, when we say enabling environment. God willing, even though we finished the runways, but we're completing the terminal in the airport, but by this same time next year, apart from those people that live in Lagos, and even people that live in Lagos, if they don't want to fly out of Lagos, if they're just an hour away from Lagos, most of the people in the southwest region don't have to now pass through Ibadan to get to Lagos to fly out anymore. So imagine this huge population we have in the 6 states in the southwest. Now you have an enabling place that you can now go from Oyo, Ibadan to anywhere you want to go in the world. That's just an infrastructure enabling environment. It's a key agency that facilitates a lot of what we've been seeing economically in Oyo State.
A complex for one-stop shop for business registration is nearing completion in the state, which will further enhance the economic development of Oyo State.
Our one-stop investment center. And upon completion, we're estimating completion probably first quarter of 2026. Upon completion, when anybody wants to come and do business in Oyo State, you don't have to go around to all MDAs anymore, because all the key officers, both federal and state agencies that is necessary for you to do business in Oyo State, are going to be under one roof. And you come into one place and they take care of all your, from registration, land matters, taxes, everything that eases you to just focus on your business and let us focus on, enabling environment.
Another landmark intervention by the Seyi Makinde administration is the massive upgrade at the Ladoke Akitola International Airport, Ibadan. From the access road to the airport to a new terminal building under construction, new runway, perimeter fencing, lighting equipment, new apron, as well as the newly installed ultra-modern landing equipment.
When we campaigned for the second term in 2022, we put out a plan, a roadmap called the Sustainable Development of Oyo State 2023 to 2027, where we made promises to the good people of Oyo State in terms of infrastructural development work and other policies that we're going to implement as a government. We promised in that booklet that we're going to upgrade the transformative policies that we've been executing in other major sectors of our economy.
The airport, as of today, has now been fully upgraded to become one of the best in the country. And this is done by the Oyo State government.
The extension of the runway from 2,400 to 3,000 and the new terminal building, basically, and also the stripes of the runway, the perimeter fence, and so many other components. But those are the major ones I could specify. Also, before now, Ibadan Airport does not have what we call instrument landing system. It's also part of the project that has been provided by the current state government under the regime of His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde. So Also, the runway doesn't have an airfield lightning. So as we speak currently, they are on it fixing the airfield lightning so that the flight in Ibadan, the flight coming to Ibadan Export can land at any point in time. There won't be issue of whether night or day landing. So both day and night landing can be accommodated henceforth in the airport.
The airport that we have before now cannot welcome certain class of aircraft. Now we have an airport that the runway is perhaps the best in Nigeria now. They can take all kind of aircraft. That is very significant and attractions to the people in the air business. So eventually, the people around the airport will witness tremendous business offspring.
The Isei campus of the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology was also impacted positively by the administration. Massive infrastructure upgrade that includes a multi-level faculty building which comprises of multiple lecture theaters, office complexes, laboratories, conference rooms, mini lecture halls, as well as a health care center is being completed in the school. Access roads, social factory, access gate inscription, amongst others, were some of the functional facilities that have been added to the school. The recreation of a new capital city as exemplified by the asphaltic rehabilitation of Molete Challenge Soka interchange, over 100 kilometers of other inner roads, and remodeling of junctions and interchanges with full traffic and street lights are being enhanced by monuments is the Governor Oluloyo Gantry Center, the fitting of a modern capital city.
If you're talking about economic development, we're talking about good security in Oyo State, and we're talking about education, and we're talking about agriculture. That's our comparative advantage. We have Akufo and the rest. And what this administration is doing right now is to resuscitate our old glory, to become that peseta state that we all knew those days. When we came on board, or when this administration came on board, 2019, the idea of Oyo State was around 1.6 billion. But so today we're about 8.5. Even 8.5, we're not measuring up to 10% of what Lagos State is making. Documented, they said Lagos is making over 100 billion. All what Oga was asking for was if we could share a bit of what is going to Lagos in Oyo State. And we're already doing that. I know a lot of people that were staying in Lagos before now. Now everybody is migrating to Ibadan, Oyo State. And people are not just staying in Ibadan, people are moving to Isei. People are moving to Oyo. People are moving to stay.
We look forward to welcoming more industries into our dear state as we commission the pilot Fashola Agribusiness Industrial Hub and start work on the Erua Agribusiness Industrial Hub. We look forward to reaping revenue from solid mineral sector and completing our first independent power project. We look forward to welcoming investors into our tourism sector as we seek to revitalize the Ibadan Cultural Center and Agodi Gardens, while opening the Eleyele Lake and the Yake Lake, making decisions that will make us proud to be from Oyo State. We implore you to work with us as we seek to bring sanity to the state by implementing the rule of law. It will be impossible to enforce laws without stepping on toes. I urge us all to see the bigger picture, a state where investors and tourists will be happy to come to and live because they know that they can feel safe and secure.
In furtherance of his desire to further enhance service delivery for the people of the state, a total of 205 vehicles were procured and distributed to different components of the civil service of Oyo State. All in all, the impact of OMI Tutu 1.0 and OMI Tutu 2.0 in Oyo State in the last 6 years transcends not just fulfillment of electoral campaign promises, but rather a conscientious attempt at securing the future of the state for generations yet unborn. And that is why keen observers of development in the pace-setter state and visitors alike have aptly described His Excellency